So my other big passion in life, other than yoga, is certainly nutrition. I have had my head in nutrition books, or my face rather, for like 10 years at least. And one thing that I want to talk to you guys a little bit about with regards to nutrition is pH balance, and basically this concept of alkalinity and acidity that we are constantly working with in our bodies. So this is important because sometimes we're focusing so much on getting really lean, or certain foods for weight loss and that kind of thing, but when we get really wrapped up in this idea of an image we want for our body, we can sometimes forget the overall health consequence that we may be creating. So pH balance, basically, this is how I've been explaining to my clients lately because I do some consulting. We have this scale, and it's an acidity alkalinity scale. This would be, let's say, the acid side, and this would be the alkaline side. So the most acidic things that we can put into our bodies or that influence us would be like pollution, toxic thinking, toxic emotion, depression, that kind of thing would be acidic. Also acidic would be alcohol, coffee. Animal protein is quite acidic. It doesn't mean that it's bad for you, but what I want to explain is that there's ways that we can balance out the acidity that is in the animal protein so that it's healthier for us. So that would be over there too. As we move down towards the alkaline side of things, we're going to tap into things like beans and grains and nuts and seeds. Those aren't as acidic as the animal protein, the coffee, the alcohol, but they're not as alkaline as what we're gonna find over here, you'll see. So that would be the next thing. What comes after that on the scale would be things like fruit. Fruit is not acidic, it's more alkaline, so that's over here. Then we move into the most alkaline things in the world, which are green things. So anything green, kale, spinach, celery, cucumber, any kind of vegetable, essentially. There's also superfoods. Foods that are really rich in nutrients that would be considered very alkaline as well. Spirulina, chlorella, E3 live, you may have heard of, wheatgrass, those kinds of things. So basically the concept that I want to explain is that you don't have to only eat greens all day long. In fact, that probably wouldn't be great for you either. You'd probably emaciate, you'd be very, very, very thin. But balancing it out. So for example, when you eat something that is really acidic, it would be a great choice to bring something from over here with it, if this is making sense. So if you have chicken, if you have fish, if you have beef or whatever it is, or eggs, bring in something from here. So have a salad with it, or have a green juice with it, or some steamed greens, some broccoli, whatever. So balancing it out, when you are maintaining basically a more alkaline state within your body, so you're eating more things from over here than perhaps over here, then you're going to experience overall a lot more energy. You're going to have certainly less colds and flus and illnesses. There's been a lot of research that's shown that acidity and disease are kind of correlated. So that's something to be aware of. And then also weight loss. When you're in an acidic state, your body's going to hold on to fat. When you start to move yourself into a more alkaline state, your body will feel like it can let go of that excess. It'll feel safe to do so. It'll know that you're taking care of it, that kind of thing. I feel that I've experienced a number of times where I've met a man or somebody who, I don't want this to sound bad, but I wouldn't necessarily look at them and say, God, this person is just hot. Like, I'm so hot for this guy. Like, he's so sexy. Especially because I love my boyfriend very much. I don't look at somebody necessarily and see that, but I think that there's an energy that people can have that is very, very sexy, even if they don't necessarily, you know, in my opinion, aesthetically, whatever, you guys, you know what I mean. But somebody can have an energy about them, and I think sexy to me probably, I think it comes when somebody has a uniqueness and certainly an authenticity. And definitely confidence. But I think the key word there, now that I'm spelling it out in through my words is authenticity. So when someone's very authentically who they are and there's no airs about them and they're not trying to be anyone else, there's a groundedness, and yeah, I think it's that. I think that's what it is to me. I guess on my good days, you know, we all have good days and bad days. On my bad days, I don't feel that, and I'll be in that like self-sabotage place, and I'll be really hard on myself. I think when I'm having my good days, which is lately, I'm so grateful often. I think when I'm feeling confident, when I'm feeling good, sometimes that means you know, something in particular has happened, but sometimes it's just how I wake up. I don't know. Does that make sense, Freddie? Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think just when I feel good, I feel sexy. So I think maybe it's important for us to focus on feeling good, and not only through you know, looking outside of ourselves, but by looking inside. I always try to. I notice that I feel better and better the more work I do internally, as opposed to looking outside of myself to feel happy or to feel good. The more I go in and work on accepting myself and loving myself and being gentler with myself, I find that's when I start to feel better and better and better. And then I guess I feel sexier then too. So I woke up the other day and kind of had one of these aha moments, so to speak, where I was literally still in bed and I heard this quote run through my mind, which you may have heard of. Albert Einstein is the original writer of this quote, and I may not have the words exactly, but it goes something like, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing day after day and expecting a different result. And I've been experiencing a little bit, not the last couple weeks, but before my aha moment, I was experiencing some burnout. So I had been in this pattern for quite a while of overdoing and filling my schedule with too much stuff, feeling a little bit drained, like I didn't have anything for anybody, and then I was putting pressure on myself, like, oh, I'm not being a good girlfriend, or I'm not teaching you know, the best classes I could be teaching, because I just didn't have anything to give. That's what it felt like anyway. And so I realized when I was laying in bed and I woke up and I heard that quote. I don't know. For some reason, that quote ran through my mind, and I realized that I had to do something different, because whatever I was doing wasn't working. I felt like, you know, day after day for about a month, I was just kind of hitting this wall, and it wasn't good. I didn't feel good. So I just basically what I wanted to express through telling or sharing this little story with you is that sometimes I think we can get really caught up in our patterns, in our habits, in our routines, and sometimes it's good to stop and reflect and meditate and really look at what you're doing and is it working for you, and if it's not, figuring out, you know, take the time out and away from whatever you have planned or whatever you're supposed to be doing or whoever you're supposed to be seeing, and really focus on what you can do to change the pattern or to break that cycle. And by doing that, you'll actually have a lot more to give everybody else, and you'll start to feel like a little bit more, you know, you'll feel fuller, I think. Yeah.